Welcome back to our Feminine Archetypes series. I am your host, Courtney Tiffany. I am author of the book Feminine Archetypes, and I'm also a priestess of the Divine Feminine. So, and my work is all about exploring the different faces, the different threads of Shakti, of the Divine Feminine, whether that's through goddesses or archetypes. Today, we're going to be exploring the archetype of the wild woman. The wild woman has gained insane popularity. This archetype, I feel like, is probably one of the most well known, in large part due to this book right here, Women Who Run with the Wolves. And you can tell I've got like a ton of notes. This is by Dr. Clarissa Pinkola Estes. If you haven't read this, go get it. Do yourself a favor. She explores the archetypes with myths and folklore and just what it means to be a wild woman. While we're on the topic of books, obviously, if you want to learn more about embodying the wild woman, check out my book, Feminine Archetypes. But here's another one that I love. The Holy Wild by Danielle Dulski goes through kind of the archetype of the wild woman. And she explains it in a little bit of a different way based on the elements. But let's talk about what is the wild woman exactly, right? There's obviously been a ton of stuff written on the archetype, but I kind of just want to give you my view of it and what it means to embody the wild woman, and we'll go from there. So the wild woman to me is untamed. She's instinctual, and she is connected to herself and her own body wisdom on a deep level. You think of you hear the term wild woman, and you just think like somebody who's just like off the rails. She's not, she's kind of outside society, right? She has broken free from the societal constraints placed on her, generational, ancestral, whatever it is, right? She kind of dances to the beat of her own drum. The wild woman is her own unique person. And a lot of times that's hard to step into, because to embody the wild woman, to step into the wild woman means, we have to let go of the fear of judgment, of being judged, what other people are going to think of us, and really kind of be fearless in embracing our own unique path, our own unique journey, and doing things a different way when, our family and friends might not understand. But the wild woman is deeply connected to that body wisdom. I talk a lot in my book about embodiment, right? And embodying the wild woman. To embody means to feel into your body, right? And this thread of Shakti, the wild woman, is literally, it takes the most embodiment, right? Meaning dropping out of your logical mind and into your body. Right? And trusting all of those instinctual nudges, all of those intuitive hits. The wild woman is not logical. She's not rational. So it's really hard for us to kind of embody that sometimes because we're really stuck up here. Western society, the entire world, right? We all operate based on thought, structure, right? Everything has to have a plan and it has to make sense. We want scientific proof. That's not the way of the wild woman, okay? The way of the wild woman is very internal, very instinctual, right? And she trusts her gut. She follows her heart. She is a free spirit, right? She does dance to the beat of her own drum. Like, she makes her own music. And she doesn't let the opinions, the thoughts of others, deter her. She goes after what she wants because she knows. She trusts her body wisdom. She trusts her intuition. She follows, the guidance from her higher self. That is the wild woman. And I've noticed a lot in my own practice, the more that you embody the wild woman, the more that you work with this archetype, it kind of brings you back to Mother Nature, to the natural cycles and seasons that are life, you know? The wild woman's very much in tune with that. She's very much in tune with her surroundings, right? And the wild woman is very much like Mother Nature in the fact that she feels it all, right? Think about Mother Nature for a moment. Yes, she's like sunshine and warmth, but she can also be snow. She can be a hurricane, a tornado, a light breeze in the spring air. Like, she's all of those things and more. I mean, the entire atmosphere, right? She blooms. I mean, in the springtime, she blooms. She gives us beautiful flowers, right? Decorating the landscapes, and provides us with food and abundance and nourishment. But she's also forest fires, right? She's destruction. She's hurricanes, wiping everything out in its path, you know, or tornadoes. Like, there's very much this element of creation and destruction with Mother Nature. And the wild woman is very much in tune with that. She's very much in tune with her emotions, and she lets herself feel everything that she needs to feel, right? Because again, the wild woman's all about body wisdom. It's separating kind of, you know, the logical and trusting this deep inner knowing. And, you know, having the courage to follow that, right? I think most of you here are probably like an empath or spiritual or intuitive. And I'm sure there's been a point in your life, right, where you've gotten like this intuitive nudge, this intuitive hit, and you're like, oh, I don't know if I want to do that, right? Like, ego kicks in, like our mind kicks in, and we're just like, okay, that's a great idea, maybe, but how am I actually going to do that? I don't. That's when we need to call on the wild woman. That's when we need to sink into deeper trust and just surrender to the divine, right? To this cycle, this pattern of following that, right? And obviously, embodying the wild woman is going to look different for everybody. You know, some of it might be a lot more like out there in your face than others, and that's fine. You don't have to be like wild or crazy to like embody the wild woman. That's not what that is, right? It's not the woman who's just like, fuck everything, I'm just gonna do whatever the hell I want. Like, yes, to an extent, but if it's gonna land you in jail, if you're gonna do things to harm other people, that's not it, right? The wild woman can also be compassionate. She can, you know, be instinctual and intuitive, but like it doesn't have to be in your face, right? She just follows it. She just goes there, right? You don't necessarily have to broadcast it to the whole world. Like, this is what I'm doing. Screw everyone else. Like, the wild woman is very much just in tune with herself and her surroundings. And she can pick up on those energies, right? And the energies of Mother Nature. And she honors her cycles. She honors when she needs to rest. She honors when she has the burst of energy, creative energy, and wants to create. She honors, you know, her shadow and integrates that. And she knows how to heal herself. And she knows, you know, she knows how to do that because she listens to that, her higher self, that inner voice, right? That's the wild woman. So I hope that gives you a little bit of understanding. If you are interested in actually activating and really like embodying that and what it feels like to be the wild woman, I have a whole activation series over on my Patreon. Within the archetype tier, you get access to activations for all the archetypes, not just the wild woman. And then there's playlists, there's videos, there's a whole community of support and other women exploring these threads of the divine feminine. So if that's something that interests you, you can head on over to my Patreon and join me there. And step into and see what it really means to activate this beautiful, fun, expressive, intuitive archetype. So hope to see you there, and I'll see you in the next video.